This program is sponsored by Chocolations, located at 607 East Boston Post Road in Mamaroneck.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to LMC Varsity Sports presentation of postseason baseball at Mamaroneck High School. With George Boyle, I'm Stephen Assis, coming to you from Manchester Field, and it is round one of the playoffs in Section 1. We have a fantastic matchup between White Plains and Mamaroneck, Tigers versus Tigers. George, how do you see this game going?
Well, I was talking to some players before the game starting, and the Mamaroneck is raring to go. They're all looking forward to getting out there and playing a good game today. With Isaac Lewis on the mound, anything can happen.
Absolutely. He is an ace, but they have Bergio going for White Plains. It's going to be a great matchup. We'll be right back with the first pitch here on LMC Varsity Sports. So we're about ready for the first pitch. Getting the start on the mound today is the leader of the pitching staff, Isaac Lewis, with over 39 innings pitched. He is 6-1 on the season, leading in basically every category, including his whip, George, which walks and hits per innings pitched is under 1, which, as you know, is a fantastic place to be for a pitcher.
Of course, yeah. Coming in into middle school late from everybody else, we all knew Isaac was going to be a good prospect, and he's definitely showing it on the varsity stage.
Playing on JV as an 8th grader, varsity as a sophomore, I believe. No, actually, I'm sorry, I think he waited until his junior year to actually play varsity. He had a little bit of arm trouble early on in his high school career, but you can tell from his performance this season, he's figured all of that out. I spoke to him in the offseason. He had said he was working hard to build up his arm strength, and he has definitely been up to the challenge all season long, including a spectacular win over Ketchum, where he had 7 strikeouts in 8 innings of work on the mound to pull out the extra innings victory, as Ethan Renner doubled home Asher Tannenbaum with the winning run after Mark Bikino hit a bases-loaded infield single to the shortstop down to their last strike. So, the preamble is over. We are set for action, and it is Anthony Bergio, the starting pitcher, on the mound, the lefty in the batter's box, rather, and the first pitch outside for ball 1. Bergio is a lefty pitcher, lefty batter. He's been their best pitcher all season long. The Mamaroneck Tigers face the shortstop, Kent, as Lewis deals a strike, 1-1.
That was a great pitch by Isaac. He had great control over that ball that entire time.
Curveball in for strike 2, and it's a 1-2 count to Bergio. In 39 innings, he's only given up 28 hits and 10 walks. He has 35 strikeouts on the season. Line drive into left center field, gets past Tannenbaum, and Bergio is racing to second base. He'll have a stand-up double to start the game.
That was a great rip by Bergio. He was out of the box quick, so that stand-up double was ease for him.
Exactly what White Plains needed here. We're going to try and stay away from the mascot nicknames, as it is the White Plains Tigers versus the Mamaroneck Tigers. So you will hear us mention White Plains and Mamaroneck more often than usual today.
A little bit behind there on that swing. If he was right there, that ball could have been put in play.
So the batter now is the first baseman, Justin DiSavino. DiSavino comes in with a .289 batting average on the season. Curveball fouled straight up in the air. Cringdon under it, and he squeezes it for the first out.
Good awareness there by Cringdon to get under that ball and make that catch to get that first critical out for Mamaroneck.
Gives us a minute as Chris McGuire will be stepping up to the plate. McGuire is DHing for the third baseman, Portanova. Pitch stays outside, ball one. So moving around the infield, it is Max McLaughlin at third, Ryan McIntyre, the sophomore, at shortstop, Michael Campbell, the only college baseball player in the lineup today, at second base, and Gavin Zingini at first. The outfield is Tannenbaum in left, Renner in center, and DeVito in right. The battery mates are Zach Cringdon, another sophomore, behind the dish, and Isaac Lewis on the mound. Lewis fakes the pickoff on the inside move and does not throw. Ground ball to short. McIntyre gloves it and throws confidently over to first for the second out of the inning as Bergio advances to third base.
Seems to be a heavy senior lineup out there for the Mamaroneck Tigers today, except for McIntyre and the man behind the dish.
Lewis is averaging about 14 pitches per inning. He's right now at 8. As that pitch sails high on AJ Scapoli. Pitches per inning, obviously, George, become a factor, especially in the postseason, as pitch counts have been implemented in a more radical and conservative way. Line drive into, gloved by Michael Campbell as he saves a run and ends the first inning.
What a catch there by Soup to get this Mamaroneck team ready to go. He's leading off this inning too, so hopefully he'll keep the momentum from that catch and get the Mamaroneck their first hit of the game.
From our perch up in right field, it sure looked like a line drive that was going to sail into center field, but it did not have enough mustard on it as Michael Campbell comes down with the catch and keeps it a scoreless game. We are halfway through the first inning here on LMC Varsity Sports. We're back for the bottom half of the first inning. Anthony Bergio will be on the mound for White Plains. He is 6-2 on the year with a .84 ERA and 3 complete games on the season.
Compared to Isaac Lewis's 4 complete games, this is it's a pitcher's duel. He would have had 5, correct me if I'm wrong, but in South Carolina, he was 1 out away from actually getting the complete game and switched from first base with Max McLaughlin. But then the ball was hit to him and he actually got the last out for that game. So you could technically call it a complete game.
I would, George. I don't know if Elias Sports Bureau is going to call it a complete game, but I'll call that a complete game as Campbell takes the second pitch into center field, a deep drive. But Gomez is there to catch it and get the first out of the inning.
Gomez was able to move back. That ball looked good off the bat, but Gomez was able to move back and catch that one.
Well, many players and alumni in Section 1 will know that at Manchester Field, fly balls to center field are where fly balls go to die, as it is over 400 feet to dead center. And so while that ball had a lot of getty up on it, it did not have the distance to get over Gomez, who was playing Campbell pretty deep.
It's a very long field for a high school field. You don't see many that are 400 feet in center.
No, not at all. So moving around the infield, it's Portanova at third base. Kent, who was the pitcher against Mamaroneck in Thomas Plunkett's 3-0 victory. And then Gillen at second and D. Savino at first as Asher Tannenbaum sees strike one on the outside corner. In the outfield, it's Sebchik in left, Gomez in center, Myers in right. Scapoli is behind the plate, and as we mentioned, it is the senior lefty Bergio on the mound. Tannenbaum checks his swing. Holds up on that one. No call from the ump. Yes, now it is showing as 1-1. And coach is asking for appeal, and yes, he is calling it a swinging strike. I got to tell you, to be honest, George, I saw him break the plane with the bat, and I was expecting the home plate ump to call it a strike. Mamaroneck has had this ump several times this year, and he has not been too favorable on the calls, as Tannenbaum hits a soft grounder to third base, fires, and a nice stretch gets the speedster running down the baseline for out number 2.
That was a good throw by the third baseman, and what a stretch by the first baseman, especially with Tannenbaum being able to come out of the box incredibly quick.
DiSavino seems to have read the scouting report on Tannenbaum. Maybe watched a couple of soccer games where Asher was racing up the field. I don't know if maybe even DiSavino plays soccer and knows the kind of speed that Asher Tannenbaum has. Captain Ethan Renner considers going for the patented Renner bunt. He has 10 of those bunt singles on the season, but he pulls it back and now hits a ground ball to second base. DiSavino thinks about it for a second, leaves it for Gillen, who gloves it and throws over to first to end the inning. So no runs, no hits, no errors on 7 pitches. And the number 5 batter will be up to lead off the top of the second. We'll be back in just a moment on LMC Varsity Sports. So John Myers, the right fielder, will lead off the second. And the pitch is a curveball that drops at about 59 feet. So Myers wasn't really threatened by that one. 1-0.
The Mamaroneck bench is doing their patent Isaac chant to get their pitcher ready to go for this top of the second inning.
Strike down the middle, 1-1. Lewis found himself on the mound for the first round game last year against Yorktown as the number 2 pitcher. Sachin Nambiar was the number 1 and was held off as Lewis drops the curveball in for strike 2. And that was beautiful strategy by Chaparelli, got them all the way to the sectional championship. Pitch low and away, 2-2. This year, as Section 1 has reformatted the postseason, if you get to the semifinals, it becomes a double elimination format. So the wise move is to start Lewis today. As a ground ball goes to Campbell, he one-hands it on the run and throws over to Zangini for the first out of the inning. Lewis, starting today, allows him to come back for the first semifinal game, which would keep them in the winner's bracket if they are fortunate enough to advance to that point. And then you have a lot of leverage if you end up in the winner's bracket after the first semifinal game. Line drive to left field. Asher Tannenbaum can't get to it as Caleb Gillen, the second baseman, is in with the double.
Gillen seems to be extremely pumped up after that big double over Tannenbaum. Say, screamed to his bench screamed back at him.
He really let the pitch do all the work for him. He just sort of got his bat out on that one and sent it over Tannenbaum's head. One hop the wall for the second hit of the game for White Plains. Now up is Mark Kent. As we mentioned, he pitched against Mamaroneck in their first matchup. It was actually technically their second matchup, as both of these teams were in the hit tournament down in South Carolina. Fouled straight towards me and doesn't make it all the way up to us. Bounces right in front of us. We almost got a second opportunity at a souvenir, George.
One bounce away from us getting a nice game-used ball.
Kent had a good outing against Mamaroneck in the first matchup. In the scrimmage down in South Carolina, Mamaroneck had a commanding lead, but some sloppy play in the field turned that one White Plains' way as Kent watches ball 1 on the curveball, 1-1 the count. Gillen with a modest lead off of second base, ground ball. Oh, it takes an unfortunate bounce. McIntyre tries to one-hand it, and that will go as an infield hit on the tough bouncer. So Gillen now at third with Kent at first and 1 out.
McIntyre was able to collect that ball really quickly, because if not, that run from second would have scored.
Gillen rounded third hard, and McIntyre fired over to McLaughlin, but Max was unable to get his glove on it cleanly enough to apply the tag, although I don't think they would have had him anyway. And now striding to the plate is the center fielder, Andrew Gomez, batting from the left side with 1 out and 2 runners on. Oh, he's got the pickoff, throws home, and Cringdon applies the tag, and Zangini fires him out for the second out of the inning. They forget about Kent. He gets second on defensive indifference, and Gillen is nailed at the plate.
Great awareness there by Gavin Zangini. He was able to get the throw by Lewis and darted it home to get Cringdon out at the plate.
So that goes 1-3-2 on the caught stealing. And Gomez stays at the plate. No count to the center fielder. Huge strategy thwarted by Mamaroneck. Long fly ball over DeVito's head. He chases it down, and 1 run will score, the first run on the board, as DeVito unable to get to that long fly ball by the lefty. The third double of the game, as White Plains is finding Lewis here in the early going.
That ball was just short of the wall. And the White Plains Tigers are the first Tigers to score today.
Pitch to Sevchek is high, ball 1 to the number 9 batter. Ryan Sevchek in left field for White Plains. Lewis has thrown 21 pitches here in this inning. 11 pitches in this inning, 21 overall. Lewis spins and thinks about firing as McIntyre was toying with Gomez at second base. Foul ball just out of the reach of the first baseman, Zangini. Evens the count at 1-1. So Pete Rose has a famous saying, George. One of the reasons baseball is as difficult a game as it is because you're using a round bat and a round ball, and you're trying to square the ball up. Well, White Plains has squared up on 3 pitches here in the first 2 innings and has resulted in 1 run. That pitch just high and out of the zone moves to a hitter's count, 2-1.
All of their hits today have been extra base hits, too. So they're taking advantage of Lewis.
Well, based on the tough bounce at shortstop, we're going to call that an infield single. So 4 hits on the day, 3 of them doubles, and then that awkward single. Ground ball gets through the hole, and running home. A beautiful throw from DeVito, nails him at the plate to end the inning.
DeVito got his revenge there. Had the ball go over his head, but then makes a beautiful throw to the plate to make the tag.
Great job from DeVito to charge that grounder. Wasn't hit too hard and fires home. Smart of Zangini. I'm sure Cringdon told him to let the ball go through, and it was a perfect strike on 1 hop to the sophomore catcher who applies the tag to end the inning. We'll be back in just a moment on LMC Varsity Sports. So after that dazzling play in right field by DeVito, the ball squeaked between Zangini and Campbell. Now Gavin Zangini is at the plate for the first at bat in the bottom of the second, and he takes ball one low. As you mentioned, it is a rowdy home dugout for Mamaroneck. Zangini fists one to the second baseman, and Gillen gets the speedy Zangini by a step.
As you were saying before, Steve, you could definitely tell this is a playoff game. Both benches are up, they're screaming, and they're cheering their team on, hopefully to lead them to a victory and move on to the next round.
Pretty good turnout as well here at Manchester Field. Usually we get a dozen, 2 dozen fans on each side. Here there have to be at least 30 or 40 on hand for this first round action. Now at the plate, Drew Antonelli watches a ball in the dirt, ball one. The out bracket games took place on Saturday. Carmel beat Mount Vernon 5-0 and plays RC Ketchum today. Ball two to Antonelli. Antonelli batting .408 on the year. His OPS over 1,000. He leads the team in RBIs with 16 as he swings at the high cheese, 2-1.
That was a big cut there by Antonelli.
Antonelli not the fastest player on the team. He'll be the first one to tell you that, but that hasn't stopped him from getting the second most doubles on the team with 5. Ground ball down the right field line, foul, and evens the count up at 2-2. Antonelli has been a line drive machine all season long, with the lone exception being their game, the loss against New Rochelle, where I would suspect he was a little overeager as they had a soft throwing pitcher, and he hit 3 towering fly balls to center field. Oh, beautiful job by Bergio as he snags that laser right back at him for the second out of the inning.
That was a hard hit ball, and that pitcher had great reflexes to be able to bring that ball in and get the out.
Now at the plate for Mamaroneck is the sophomore shortstop, Ryan McIntyre. McIntyre called up as a freshman to varsity for their championship run, and a fly ball hit into right center field. Deep but playable as Myers hauls it in to end the inning. So a little bit of excitement off the bat of Mamaroneck, but unfortunately all the batted balls were collected with no harm, no foul to White Plains. At the end of 2, it is 1-0 White Plains over Mamaroneck. White Plains has turned the batting order over, and Bergio, who led off the game, leads off the third inning. He tries to drag bunt that first pitch and fouls it straight back, 0-1. Second pitch, low in the zone, called strike, 0-2 to the senior pitcher. So it's a lefty on lefty matchup between Mamaroneck and White Plains. Have to expect that Chaparelli will go the distance as Lewis paints the corner there with strike 3, and Bergio takes a seat.
Those are great pitches there by Isaac to get that first out of the inning, which is always crucial to start off the inning positive.
It's a major league statistic that 70% of the time he offers that one, so it's a called strike. 70% of the time when the leadoff batter gets on base, they score a run in the inning. You have to imagine in high school ball, that's got to be up in the 80s. And in Little League, it's probably up near 100%. So getting that first out of the inning, keeping them off the base paths to start the inning is huge. Fouls that one off, 1-2.
Lewis is painting the corners with his pitches right now. He's throwing all over the zone.
Lewis has gotten the first 2 outs of the inning 19 times this season. He's had 12 1-2-3 innings, and 22 times he's kept his pitch count under 13 in any particular inning. Pitch just off the plate there, 2-2 to DiSavino. 35 years ago, Coach Mike Schiaparelli took over the Mamaroneck program as DiSavino fouls that one off. And he had as one of his players early on, Coach Marcel Gallegani from White Plains. Gallegani's now been with White Plains coaching their baseball program for several years, and they had the first inaugural, I guess that becomes redundant, the inaugural Kittle Cup, named after a longtime Mamaroneck supporter of the baseball program. 2-2 count, strike 3, gets him looking. As Lewis is finding his stride here in the 3rd inning. We were talking in between innings, George, and trying to figure out how long Schiaparelli's going to stick with his ace. You have to figure no matter how hard they're hitting him, as long as the score stays close, his best bet is going with Lewis on the mound. So expect him to stay and fight through any sort of trouble he may run into here today, folks.
If Lewis keeps throwing strikes, I don't know why you take him off the mound. He's looking really good this inning with 2 strikeouts.
Yes, well, they have hit him hard in 3 different instances. Actually, sorry, 4 times. 3 doubles and 2 singles. And there's another deep shot into right field. DeVito back and gets the ball as he crashes into the wall. And he calls it out. Just an amazing catch by the senior right fielder. But Gallegani is irate as he feels that he did not have full control over that catch as he collided with the chain link fence. He took about 2 full strides. We'll have to take a look at the replay. That could be the play of the year if that in fact ends up becoming pivotal in this 1-run game. Beautiful job by DeVito.
Back-to-back innings, DeVito has come up big to get that critical 3rd out for Mamaroneck.
So that ends the inning as McGuire takes Lewis all the way to the wall, or more to the point, just short of the wall as DeVito gets it on a dead sprint. The ball does pop free as he collides with the wall, but I think the umpire made the correct call in calling it an out and a catch, and then it was lost on the collision with the wall after the catch was made. So we'll move to the bottom half of the 3rd inning. It is still White Plains 1, Mamaroneck nothing, here on LMC Varsity Sports. Here in the bottom half of the 3rd, it will be Max McLaughlin at the plate. The senior 3rd baseman has had a special senior campaign. He was essentially the team MVP in South Carolina, saving 3 games, in addition to hitting a home run in the championship game. He takes that pitch inside and low for ball 1. Also, I believe, leading the team in RBIs during that trip. Swings at this one, sends it into left field, but they were playing him deep So that falls into the glove of the left fielder, Sevchek. Seems that Coach Galligani has done a good bit of scouting of this Mamaroneck roster, as he has his left fielder properly positioned deep. They are allowing any singles, but they do not want any doubles or extra base hits of any kind in left.
Smart coaching there by Galligani.
Sophomore Cringdon is up at the plate, and he swings and misses at the first pitch, 0-1. Being that we are the hometown announcers, as Cringdon watches strike 2, I will do my best to jinx Bergio and point out he is perfect through 2 1/3.
Bergio's definitely looking good on the mound, though. I was talking to some players before the game, and they said with his lefty curveball, they were definitely scared to go up against him. And he's been showing that he's the real deal today.
Cringdon goes down swinging. So there are now 2 outs here in the 3rd, and Bergio is still perfect. Perfect game. He has a perfect game, George. He's throwing a perfect game. He is perfect through 2 2/3. So if there are baseball gods out there, hopefully DeVito feels that power in his bat and sends it over the left field wall. Swing and a miss at the low fastball, 0-1. And then we have the other half of the baseball gods saying that if anyone is going to break up the perfect game, it's going to be DeVito, who has been just scintillating in the field. Fouls that one off. In fact, I think he might have gotten a piece of that twice on his follow-through. He might have fouled it again.
DeVito has been Mr. Highlights today with that big catch to end the last inning where he ran into the chain link fence, and the inning before where he gunned it down from right field to get the out at the plate.
DeVito batting .358 on the season. He opened the season with a home run at Clarkstown South as the route was on when Mamaroneck put a whooping on the team they lost to in the sectional championship. And DeVito watches strike 3. So Bergio is on fire, perfect through 3. We'll be back in just a moment on LMC Varsity Sports. So as you may remember, in the top of the 3rd inning, there was some Des Bryant-like controversy in right field trying to figure out what constitutes a catch, as DeVito comes up with a great catch, and this one is right at our broadcast booth, falls just short. 0-1 is the count to the catcher, A.J. Scapoli. Scapoli 0 for 1 on the day. He hit a line drive caught by Campbell to end the 1st inning as he watches strike 2, 0-2. Curveball sent into right field. DeVito is there, he settles under it. And a lot of action for the senior right fielder. 1 out in the 4th.
DeVito's been getting all the action today.
So it has essentially been a pitcher's duel. A lot of batted balls, but a lot of good plays. And there is a line drive into the left field corner. Tannenbaum chases it down. He fires to second. McIntyre on the relay is just a hair late. And Myers in with a line drive double. That is the 4th double on the day off of Lewis. Only 1 run to show for it so far, but the 6th hit on the afternoon for White Plains. We're only 45 minutes into actual game play, At this rate, the game will be over in just over an hour and 10 minutes. Pitch low and away to Gillen, who's 1 for 1 on the day. Gillen had a line drive double in his first at bat.
With 4 doubles for White Plains, they haven't been able to score with men on extra bases. So Mamaroneck's been playing some good defense, but 4 doubles is not looking good for Lewis.
He has been battling all the way though, as he fakes the pickoff move to second, trying to keep Myers honest on the base paths. Swing and a miss by Gillen. Evens the count at 1-1. Big hack from the second baseman. The pitch stays up high, 2-1. Gillen thinks about offering at that one, but is able to hold up at the off-speed pitch. Good job by Cringdon to drop and block. He lost sight of the ball for a moment. It was at his feet. Myers didn't have an opportunity to go though. So it's now 3-1 on the count.
Myers seems to have a decent lead off of second.
We'll see if they test the arm of the sophomore catcher. He drops and blocks on that one again as the ball is in the dirt, and we now have runners at first and second with 1 away. We were talking with our sports producer, Rob Moretti, who is over at Memorial Field. Mamaroneck is hosting 2 games as Coach Schiaparelli goes out to talk things over. We're talking with Moretti, and he was saying that the Mamaroneck lacrosse team, who is hosting a game today against Mayapack, I believe,
Yes.
should be done with his game before we are and would come over and visit us. But the way this game is moving along, I don't know that he's going to beat us out time-wise.
We may go pay him a visit.
Exactly. Hopefully with good news.
Coach Schaap just definitely out there to calm Lewis down a little bit. Seems to be a little bit frazzled, but I don't think that'll stop him from hitting his stride.
He has seen it all in his years playing baseball here in Mamaroneck. Spent his Little League years in Virginia, as you mentioned, George. He moved here in the 8th grade. His father, a Virginia native. His mother is the cantor at Larchmont Temple. His father, a Yale graduate who is in the a cappella group, the Dukesmen. Or maybe was it the Whippin'-Poofs? I believe it was the Dukesmen. Line drive into right field. DeVito fields it and fires home. Another strike would have had him. And it's now bases loaded on the line drive single from the shortstop, Kent, who's now 2 for 2 on the day. Now at the plate is Andrew Gomez, who doubled on a fly ball over DeVito in his first at bat. Bases loaded, 1 out. They're going to have the corners in here and the middle at double play depth. The pitch low and outside, ball 1. White Plains is batting .258 on the season. You wouldn't know it from how they're performing here today. as Mamaroneck on the season, batting .342, but they are being blanked by Bergio. Pitch high, 2-0 to Gomez. Lewis has nowhere to put him, so expect Gomez to be looking for a pitch over the plate here.
Gomez is just looking to put something in play to score maybe 1 or 2 runs.
This is a juicy opportunity for the White Plains team. We'll see what he can do. Swings and fouls it off on the low fastball. 2-1 the count.
If you look over to the Mamaroneck bullpen, looks to me that Peter Jacob Ferraro is warming up, getting loose out there. So they may be looking for their bullpen early.
That ball got past Zach Cringdon as Gomez had squared to bunt on the safety squeeze. But he did get a piece of it, so it was ruled a foul ball, and that evens the count up at 2-2. Have to figure that Chaparelli is just loosening Peter Jacob up in case things go awry. He is going to stick with Lewis till the very last drop. I am just certain of that. But Ferraro has looked sharp in his last couple outings for Mamaroneck as the season wound down. Had a couple of good outings against Stepanak and Harvey. Gomez at the very back edge of the batter's box. Looks to be right on top of the plate. Fouls that one off on the high fastball. Count remains 2-2. The pitch. Fly ball down the right field line. And another fantastic catch by DeVito. Myers will tag from third, and the score is now 2-0.
Right field seems to be the place to hit the ball today. DeVito has 2 big catches and 1 big gun down to the plate, but that ball right there, if that would have dropped, that would have scored 2, maybe 3 runs.
Yeah, I am confident that Kent would have scored from first if that ball had found the grass out there. Maybe they would have held him, but that could have been devastating. DeVito has just been rock solid in right field. A fantastic athlete, Michael DeVito, nicknamed Spidey for his ability to scale a wall in almost a single bound. Pitch high, but catches the zone to the 9 batter Sevcek, who is 1 for 1 on the day. He singled on a ground ball into right field. That was the ball that DeVito fired home to get the runner rounding third. Low and away, 1-1 the count. Lewis from the stretch. Runners on first and second. 2 outs. Swing and a miss at the off-speed pitch. Had him fooled. 1-2. And Lewis looking to get out of this bases loaded jam with minimal damage as Sevcek trots down to get some instruction from Coach Galligani. White Plains 8-11 on the season. They are 3-3 in their league. Mamaroneck secured a share of the league title with a 4-2 league record. They're 14-6 overall on the season. Mercying Harvey in their final game of the season. They had some amazing victories at Stepanak and home in 8 innings against number 1 RC Ketchum. They're going to have to figure out how to find some hits here as the count goes to 2-2 if they're hopeful of outlasting White Plains in this opening round playoff matchup.
Lewis was trying to get the batter to bite there at that outside pitch, but he wasn't swinging it that far.
That is what is known in baseball parlance as a waste pitch. And there he challenges him, and Sevchek fouls that one off into the right field bleachers. Although there are no bleachers, that doesn't really matter. There are plans to turf Manchester Field in the coming season or two. They're just trying to figure out where they can relocate the Mamaroneck track to in order to make this a multi-purpose seasonal field. Ground ball to Campbell. He gloves it and casually throws over to first to end the inning. So minimal damage, as I said, on 2 hits. 1 run scores, 22 pitches out of the left arm of Lewis. We'll be back in the bottom of the 4th with the top of the order for Mamaroneck here on LMC Varsity Sports. We're here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Bergio, of course, still on the mound. He is perfect through 3, having thrown only 24 pitches. Lewis had a 22-pitch 4th inning, so he's at 58 on the game, George.
58 is normal for a high school game, though, especially looking at the scorebook from the 2nd inning, where he let up 2 big hits. It's shocking to see that they only scored 1 run off of that.
He actually had 4 hits, 2 big hits, 2 doubles, and 2 singles. To think of the fact that he only had 1 run given up in those 4 hits, you can attribute that all to Michael DeVito and his stellar play in right field as Soup takes a look at ball 1, pops that one straight back. It's now 1-1. Michael Campbell had started the season out a little slow, but he's come on strong now, batting .294 on the season. He has 2 home runs, including a grand slam against Mount Vernon. Swings and misses at that off-speed pitch low. 1-2. Campbell was a starter on varsity his sophomore season and has started all the way through his senior campaign as he swings and misses and heads back to the dugout.
That was a big swing and a miss there for Campbell.
Now at the plate is Asher Tannenbaum. Tannenbaum grounded out to 3rd in the 1st inning. Bit of a windy day here as maybe our cameras catch a little bit of the trees flapping in the breeze. Ground ball up the middle by Tannenbaum, and he will have an infield single. Not a chance for Gillen as he fields that grounder all the way over in the shortstop position. That is what's known as a seeing eye single. But with Tannenbaum's speed, there wasn't a question he was going to get on base, and he breaks up the perfect game.
First hit of the day there from Mamaroneck. Hopefully that makes a turn for the team.
Renner has had a flair for the dramatic throughout the season. He has 10 bunt singles on the day as he watches strike 1 drop in. I'm not absolutely certain of this, but I believe the record for Mamaroneck High School is 11 bunt singles on the year. Oh, and Tannenbaum gets caught leaning. And the lefty picks him off of first base.
Good awareness there by Bergio to see that Tannenbaum, who's, as we've been saying a lot, is quick, so he's probably seeing the possibility of a stealing opportunity and gets the good pickoff at first base.
So Bergio wipes off the only runner of the day, and there are now 2 outs as Renner's at the plate as he watches the same exact pitch stay a little high. So it's 1-1 to the senior co-captain. Renner batting .542 on the season with 32 hits in 59 at-bats. He bunts, and
There's the record, it looks like, with 11
Ethan
bunt
Renner
singles.
patented bunt single as Portanova was playing him deep and didn't have a chance. So 2 singles don't leave the infield, and Mamaroneck has another base runner at first as the senior Gavin Zangini now at the plate. Zangini goes the other way almost exclusively as he watches strike 1 drop in there. Bergio mixing up his pitches very well with Drew Antonelli on deck for Mamaroneck. Strike 2 catches the top end of the zone.
Zangini's looking to put the bat on the ball here to hopefully advance Ethan Renner to second or third with a big hitter like Antonelli coming up. As he said, he was a line drive machine this season, and he's looking to continue that.
Mamaroneck has been down but not out in several games before, a couple down in South Carolina, and additionally the game against R.C. Ketchum as that fastball gets past Scapoli, and Renner now in scoring position on the pass ball. We'll see if Mamaroneck can capitalize on that misplay as Max McLaughlin now warming up in the bullpen for Mamaroneck. Scapoli will go out and talk to his pitcher.
As you said before, Scapoli played under Coach Schiaparelli, so he knows every one of Schiaparelli's tricks, and will try to take advantage of the Mamaroneck Tigers today.
Galligani. Right, Scapoli is the catcher, Galligani is the coach. Yes, he did play under Schiaparelli, and he does know all his tricks. He's been playing against him for years. This is actually the first year that White Plains is not in the same league as Mamaroneck. If you wanted to be really harsh about it, you could say they left so that they could try and find a league title elsewhere, as Mamaroneck now has 23 league titles, as they painted their 2019 banner this past Friday, making their mark, as they say, which has been the theme of the season here at Mamaroneck, make your mark. Gavin Zangini trying to make his mark on this game with a 1-2 count and a runner in scoring position. The windup and the pitch. Fly ball down the right field line. Tails foul and out of play. Hit that ball around 320 feet, but unfortunately it goes foul. So the count remains 1-2. And Zangini once again going oppo, as is his way. From the stretch, pitch stays up, and the count is even at 2-2 as Renner trots back to second base. Crucial opportunity for Mamaroneck and Gavin Zangini. See if he can plate this run. Fastball, strike 3, called high outside corner. And that ends the threat here in the 4th. So we'll move to the top of the 5th inning on LMC Varsity Sports. Top 5 now, and White Plains is at the top of the order once again. Anthony Bergio doubled in his first at bat. Grounds to Zingini, who throws it high. Oh, and Cringdon was there backing up Lewis. So Bergio has to hold at first.
What a great play there by Cringdon. Bergio thought he had the opportunity to go to second, but with good backup defense by the catcher for Mamaroneck.
So the first runner gets on base for White Plains on the error on the exchange. And DiSavino 0 for 2 on the day, now at the plate. Tries to bunt, fouls that one off. As Coach Gallegani is trying to get any runs he can for insurance. As tough as Bergio has been on the mound, he knows that this potent Mamaroneck batting lineup can strike at any moment. And he needs to scratch as many runs across as he can against this pitcher in Isaac Lewis. Time called by the batter. A run in the second and a run in the fourth by White Plains has been the difference here today. Squares to bunt, leaves that one high. The count evens at 1-1. Pickoff move over to Bergio as DiSavino had squared to bunt once again. McLaughlin charging on the play. Time is called in the field as the field umpire asks Bergio to clean off first base a little bit so he can see. Squares to bunt, pulls it back, and it's now 2-1.
Going back to the pitch before this, that lefty pickoff move could be deadly, especially Lewis's is such a strong pickoff move.
They do have the advantage as their body is facing first base. Good bunt. McLaughlin throws to second and gets him at double play. Beautiful exchange. McLaughlin to McIntyre to Zingini, and they wipe the runners off the bases.
Good awareness there by McLaughlin to charge the bunt, flip it to shortstop, and get the out at first.
The throw seemed a little high, but McIntyre does a magnificent job not only catching it with his foot on the base, but exchanging to his throwing hand and firing to the outstretched Zingini for the second out. And that will do it for Lewis. After 63 pitches, he comes out of the game, and Peter Jacob Ferraro will come in relief. We'll be back in just a moment. So the senior right-hander now toes the rubber for Mamaroneck. Pitch is high for ball one. Ferraro had elbow surgery last year and was on the shelf, but has been very effective in several outings this season as he throws that one about 48 feet. Bounces the fastball in the dirt in front of the plate. 2-0 the count with 2 outs here in the top of the fifth. That pitch is 60 feet 5 inches, maybe 60 feet 7 inches as it bounces on the plate. 3-0 the count. Ground ball fair. Throw by by Cringdon. Gets past Lewis. DeVito fires to second. Just a little late. So single in the books as McGuire takes second on the throwing error by McLaughlin.
Good backup defense there by DeVito to get a close play there at second base.
AJ Scapoli is now at the plate for White Plains. He's 0 for 2 on the day. Ferraro drops the curveball in for strike 1. And close the book on Lewis. 63 pitches, 42 strikes. He gave up 7 hits and 2 earned runs as that ball gets away from Crington. And McGuire advances to third.
Lewis seems to be giving Ferraro a little advice.
Mamaroneck just needs an out here as Schiaparelli's going to come out and talk to Peter Jacob about exactly that. No, and it looks like he's going to move on from Ferraro and go to Max McLaughlin as Matt Adamo is now coming in at third base. We'll be back in just a moment on LMC Varsity Sports. So Coach Schiaparelli did not have the luxury of waiting for Peter Jacob to find his rhythm. He goes to his closer, Max McLaughlin, and has Thomas Plunkett warming up in the bullpen. First pitch, it stays high for ball 2. 2-1 the count to Scapoli. Scapoli is going old school with no batting gloves as the count moves to 3-1, and McLaughlin will see if he utilizes the empty bases. And a ball popped up. Lewis gets out of the way of Campbell, who has to stretch far over his head, but brings that pop fly in for the third out of the inning. So Mamaroneck able to get out of that jam with no runs as Campbell corrals the final out. No runs, 1 hit, 2 errors on 14 pitches combined between the 3 pitchers. Coming up in the bottom of the 5th will be the 5, 6, 7 batters, Antonelli, McIntyre, and McLaughlin. Here on LMC Varsity Sports.
Welcome back to Manchester Field at Mamaroneck High School alongside Stephen Astis. I'm George Boyle. We're here for the first round of playoff baseball, where the Mamaroneck Tigers take on the White Plains Tigers. White Plains leads 2-0 right now. Now up at the plate, Drew Antonelli. Drew Antonelli has been a line drive machine, as you've been saying before, Steve. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. 1 strike to the White Plains pitcher, and he's been looking great so far.
George, Anthony Bergio has just been unhittable for the most part. Mamaroneck's gotten their bat on a couple good pitches, but they have found the gloves of White Plains.
Strike 2 on a controversial pitch. It looks like Antonelli thought that ball was a little bit high and out of his strike zone.
And while you don't want to swing at what is not your pitch, you are not really afforded too much time with Bergio on the mound being as masterful as he's been hurling for White Plains today, George.
Antonelli looks locked and loaded. The 1-2. Gets a piece of it, but that ball is way foul to right field.
A real good cut by the senior designated hitter. He just flayed that one out a little bit. If he had barreled that up, that had home run written all over it.
Back to the 1-2. Antonelli gets another cut. As in Little League, they would say, staying alive right there.
There you go, George. Absolutely. He is looking to put a hurting on the fastball that Bergio is dealing to him. He's got to watch for the off speed now. Look fastball, watch off speed.
Bergio goes into his stride. Antonelli is staying in this count, 1-2 still.
6 pitch at bat for Antonelli here to start the bottom of the 5th inning. Fortunately for Mamaroneck, George, it is only a 2-run deficit, all thanks to Michael DeVito in right field.
Another foul ball, 7 pitches this about for Bergio.
Being that it's the 5th inning, George, you would say that this 7 pitch at bat is getting to Bergio, but that's only 45 pitches on the afternoon for the senior lefty. He has been very economical with his pitching.
And Antonelli is hit by a pitch. He takes the pitch into the leg and trots his way down to first base.
All right, so Bergio decided, all right, Antonelli, I don't want to pitch you anymore. I'm going to put you on first base. I'm going to plunk you. And Emmett Smith is now talking to Emmett Novick. If only it were Emmett Smith. No offense to Emmett Novick, but Emmett Novick has been the featured pinch runner for Mamaroneck here this season, and he pinch runs for Antonelli. Get some speed on the bases. As we mentioned, Drew will be the first to admit he is not the fastest runner on this roster. Now, Novick has to make sure that he does not get picked off first.
Now up at bat, Ryan McIntyre, the sophomore. We were talking earlier, he started as a freshman in their run for the title, and now he's starting as a sophomore again. I think personally he's off to play Division I ball in college, but that's a long time away, still a sophomore.
Definitely, he definitely has designs on playing D1 baseball, and he definitely has the tools to do it.
There's a strike 1 pitch there for White Plains. Schiaparelli being strategic here, putting Novick on base. Hopefully, if McIntyre is able to put a ball into play, have a little speedster out there, maybe advance to third. White Plains looks at Novick there at first base. That's the second time this at bat that they've looked over.
A token acknowledgement of his presence on the base paths. And it's doing the job, George. He stayed a shorter lead.
0-1. That ball is high. 1-1 count here for McIntyre. He's looking to put something in play to hopefully get Mamaroneck back on their feet. They had 2 hits earlier today, a bunt and a close ball, but hopefully they're trying to get with the man on first base.
George Ryan works it to a hitter's count now, 2-1. We'll see if he can do something with it. He's gotten a lot of big hits this season. He was actually nominated for Player of the Week for his performance against Fox Lane earlier this year.
A 2-1. That ball is ripped down the left field line, but it is foul.
Over the fence, but foul, so unfortunately he does not tie it up with a single swing, but that sort of illustrates his potential and ability to be able to tie it up with a single swing. Right now they just need to move the base runners around.
They're really trying to scare Novick here, but he's not biting at all.
They are keeping him honest, so we'll see what happens if Ryan's able to get a hit here.
The 2-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3 there for Ryan McIntyre. He goes down fighting though.
There's plenty of pop in this Mamaroneck batting order. McLaughlin with 2 home runs of his own. 9 RBIs on the season, batting .293 on the year. He also has a double. And with only 1 out, George, he also has Zach Cringdon and Michael DeVito coming up behind him before we get back to the top of the order.
Here's the pitch. McLaughlin looks at that one. Ball 1.
Pitch in the dirt blocked well by Scapoli. Keeps Novick tethered to first. Schiaparelli would love nothing more than to get him in scoring position without having to sacrifice an out.
Bergio looks down. Here's the pitch. Ball is outside for McLaughlin. 2-0. A walk would help the Tigers here. They get 2 men on with, as you said, 2 great hitters coming up.
Plunkett and Tantillo warming up in the bullpen. And George, that is the unique element of this Mamaroneck batting order, is there's potency all the way throughout, all the way down to DeVito batting .360 on the year.
2-1, a hitter's count for McLaughlin now.
Definitely didn't want to be swinging at that 2-0 curveball. Rather gutsy of Bergio to throw a 2-0 curve. Shows his confidence in that kind of pitch to throw it for a strike.
Novick is gone. Here's the play, and he's out at second base. Bergio went for the pickoff at first, and the first baseman was able to make a great throw to the shortstop. 2 outs now for the Mamaroneck Tigers. McLaughlin still at the plate and with a 2-1, and that's unfortunate for the Tigers.
Well, Emin Novick obviously had the sign to go on first move, thinking that Bergio was going to be throwing to the plate. But unfortunately, he went over to DiSavino, who threw to Kent, and they nailed him by a half a step.
McLaughlin gets a piece of that one. It'll even the count out. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th here at Mamaroneck High School. McLaughlin really just looking to put something in play here and get on base. Bergio from the stretch. Eyes down McLaughlin. Here's the pitch. Ball is high. The count is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And Max McLaughlin looking to get on base here for his team. Here's the pitch. Ball 4. And Max McLaughlin trots his way down to first base for the Mamaroneck catcher. Cringdon coming up to bat.
McLaughlin, plenty of athleticism and speed, so he will run for himself. We'll see if Zach Cringdon, who also has plenty of pop in his bat, can find the fence or the outfield and get McLaughlin around the bases.
First pitch strike there for White Plains. The 0-1. That's a close call there. 2 strikes for the White Plains Tigers, looking to get out of this one with just the walk.
Schiaparelli calls Cringdon over, wants to talk to him about strategy here with the 0-2 count. Not mix anything up with any sort of signs and just simply call him over to coach him up and give him a bit of a pep talk. Still plenty of baseball left to play here. You know, the old Yogi Berra saying it's getting late early out there doesn't exactly apply here, as Mamaroneck still has an out to work with here in the 5th, and then the 6th and 7th innings to come.
Still a lot of baseball to be played left, and they're looking to turn it around. The 0-2 pitch. The White Plains bench is not happy about that call. But after 2 close, with Cringdon looking at 2 pitches, he must be happy to not be called on that third looking strike.
That outside pitch is deadly. When you have 2 strikes, you do not want to be left at the plate looking at strike 3. But Cringdon obviously felt confident that that was outside, and the umpire agreed with him. And now after another ball that was clearly a ball out of the hand of Bergio, he's now evened it up in 2-2.
Here's the 2-2. Strike. Foul ball there. The ump calls it. His bat just got a piece of that one.
Yes, Cringdon did clearly get a piece of that. So he lives for another pitch. See if he can turn it around and get himself a hit here. Cringdon 0 for 1 on the day. He struck out swinging in his first at bat.
He's looking to turn it around here and put the ball in play. Here's the 2-2. Strike 3. Cringdon with a big swing and a miss. And the White Plains Tigers get out of this inning with just 1 walk. The score is White Plains 2, Mamaroneck 0. And we'll be right back with LMC TV Varsity Sports. McLaughlin starts out this inning with a bang with that first strike. He's looking to keep up these strikes this inning to hopefully get the Tigers out of this. But there's a hit to McIntyre at shortstop, and he gets the play to first base. A nice stretch there by Lewis.
I should mention there was a 4th base runner for Mamaroneck as Antonelli was hit by a pitch in the bottom of the 5th inning. But Emmett Novick picked off first, wiped that one away.
McLaughlin looks down at the hitter. There's the pitch in the dirt, ball 1.
You can feel the tension in the stands and in the dugouts for both sides here.
There's a rip down the third base line, but Adamo makes a good play, but it's a wild throw. Lewis cannot make the play. So that is an error on the play there. That ball was hit extremely hard down the third base line, and Adamo made a great play, but a wild throw there gives White Plains another base runner.
Coach Gallegani is talking to the umpires about something, and yes, they award Gillen second base.
Coach Schapp is now coming out to talk to the umpires. He must disagree with the call.
Well, there was some handling of each other by Lewis and Gillen. I think they're calling it interference on Lewis.
The White Plains bench is extremely pumped up when their runner moves from first to second.
Well, any inch that is yielded by Mamaroneck is another inch closer to victory for White Plains. Schiaparelli vehemently disagrees with this call. I can't honestly remember, we don't have our replay technology on hand today, George. Can't remember if it was Isaac if it was Lewis that grabbed Gillen or the other way around. I think Lewis must have grabbed Gillen as he went by him. Otherwise, why else would they award him second base?
Schiaparelli heads back to talk to the main umpire and heads back to the Mamaroneck bench. Unhappy with the call there.
So Schiaparelli protests in vain over the call, and he's got a couple words to say to his former player, Gallegani. And now he's back out onto the field to talk about it some more. He obviously realized another point he had to make, another bullet in his holster, if you will. The senior co-captain Adamo, who came in at third base for McLaughlin as Lewis went over to first. And McLaughlin came in for Peter Jacob Ferraro. We'll see if Adamo gets a chance to make up for the errant throw here with one out in the top of the sixth.
McLaughlin steps back onto the rubber. Big lead on second base for White Plains. Here's the pitch. That ball is high. 1 ball, no strikes here in the top of the 6th inning.
Not much of a stride there from McLaughlin as he tried to throw the off-speed pitch.
Here's the pitch. Another high pitch from McLaughlin. That is 2 balls, no strikes here for the Mamaroneck Tigers. 1 out in the top of the 6th. With a runner on second, they're looking to put no hits anywhere in the outfield here because that's a possibility of a score. And McLaughlin steps off of the rubber to check the runner on second. The 2-0. That ball is ripped to center field. But what a great play there by Ethan Renner. Was able to track that ball down and make a good run to secure the out.
Renner has swallowed up a tremendous number of line drives and deep fly balls, including a couple of diving catches and even one leaping sort of Superman catch over his head down in South Carolina. So he has really helped his pitching staff out by wiping out some sure extra base hits out there in center field.
2 outs now in the top of the 6th for the Tigers. McLaughlin with the first pitch. That is a strike. Mamaroneck has, it looks to be Joey Tintillo warming up in the bullpen. Here's the pitch from McLaughlin. That ball is high and outside. 1-1 count right now.
So it seems that Nick Gomez is now in for his brother. In a pinch hitting opportunity.
Good pitch there by McLaughlin. Inside.
Caught the inside corner, George, and it looked like the umpire thought about it for a second before calling that a strike, but doesn't matter. It's a strike in the books, and it's now a 1-2 count with 2 outs.
Good opportunity here for Mamaroneck to get out of this inning. And the runner goes to third. Adamo able to make the easy tag to get out of the inning. No runs, 1 man left on base, and it is still 2-0 here at Mamaroneck High School. White Plains leads in this playoff high school baseball game. And we'll be right back with LMC TV Varsity Sports. We are back at Mamaroneck High School. Bottom of the 6th, the Tigers look to get started here. Hopefully get their first run on the board.
George, I gotta tell you, the happiest person in the dugout right now has to be Matt Adamo after that errant throw. He is the beneficiary of the pickoff caught stealing by Max McLaughlin, threw it over to him, and he was able to apply the tag.
First pitch strike against Michael DeVito, the senior. And Michael DeVito has been all over the place in right field this game. Making catches up against the wall, throwing people out at the plate. The second pitch of this inning is a ball. 1-1 count now.
As solid as he's been in the field, though, this is only his second at bat. He struck out looking in the first one.
The 1-1. Thought that he could have went, but he did not. The count is now 2-1 for DeVito.
Able to hold up there. It has felt desperate for the entire game here because of how Bergio has pitched, George, but they still have the bottom of the 6th and the bottom of the 7th.
Bergio with an off pitch there. That ball is high. 3-1 count now for DeVito. He's in a place that he would enjoy being.
They need base runners here. However, DeVito can get on first.
Here's the 3-1, and he lays it up to the second baseman, bobbles it, and he's safe at first base. What a great run down first base line by Michael DeVito.
I'm calling that one an infield single. It took an awful hop on the second baseman. Gillen able to body it and keep it in front of him, but the speed of DeVito and the outstretched leg to get that left foot down before the throw beats him, that is an infield hit if ever I've seen one. Great job by DeVito, and with his athleticism, Schiaparelli's definitely leaving him at first.
Running down the first base line, he actually leaped to first base to get there.
By any means necessary is the theme of these last 2 innings for Mamaroneck as we start to feel a few trickles of a drizzle as I see a dark cloud overhead. There was a threat of rain in the forecast. I didn't really believe it as the skies were so clear. Hopefully this game can continue as it's only been a couple of droplets so far.
Now up right now, the leadoff man, Michael Campbell. Back in the day, he was nicknamed Michael Soup Campbell, but that seems to be such an easy nickname as his last name is Campbell.
We'll see if it follows him to Manhattan College where he will play center field for the Jaspers.
White Plains pitcher steps off the mound.
Campbell flew out to center field in his first at bat and struck out swinging at a low strike in his second at bat.
That ball is low. 2-0 count now for Michael Soup Campbell. With DeVito's speed on first, if there's a pass ball, he could definitely take second easily. Here's the 2-0 for Soup. He rockets it down the left field line. He's going for 2, and DeVito's going to take third with a stand-up double for the Mamaroneck Tigers. Soup is so pumped right now on second base. The dugout is going crazy right as the rain starts to come down hard. The White Plains coach comes out to talk.
I'm not sure what Gallegano has to say here unless, oh yeah, it is just simply, oh, they're clearing the field due to lightning, George. Or thunder. It has to be something like that. Oh, they can't believe it.
You could see out around second base, Campbell cannot believe it after they have just started to get momentum and move forward in this game.
So, George, we're going to have to take a break here as there is, I believe, a Section 1 rule for a half-hour delay due to the thunder. We'll see if that was, in fact, what caused the call, but they are pulling everyone off the field. This could be a momentum killer, but on the flip side of it, you know, George, pressure is being felt by White Plains. There is no doubt about that. As dominant as Bergio has been, he is feeling the pressure as well, and we'll see if this messes with his pitching control.
All right, and we'll be right back with LMC TV Varsity Sports after this rain delay. Welcome back from this rain delay here at Mamaroneck High School with LMC Varsity Sports. I'm George Boyle alongside Steven Assis. Steve, we just went through some controversial plays. The hit that we just described to you does not count.
Yes, George. It turns out that the field umpire called time as the pitch was being delivered, and in the majors, the offense would have the prerogative to choose the result of the play or not, but this is high school baseball, that does not apply. So Michael Campbell is back at the plate. It's a 2-0 count. A lot of fans, spectators, and coaches were saying that a balk occurred, but the umps did not call that, so that does not factor in. Michael DeVito is at first base. Michael Campbell is at the plate. Now, George, the question is, does this help or hurt Bergio?
Well, I guess with Bergio, he was, as we could tell, he was getting a little bit tired pitching this last couple innings. So maybe the 30 minutes gave him time to help get some strength back and help throw pitches. But also, sitting for 30 minutes not throwing could also hurt a pitcher. But could that be the game changer? And we're back. Bottom 6, White Plains leads Mamaroneck 2-0. 2-0 count for Michael Campbell. Bergio looks down, hits one way foul. That ball was hit hard, almost hit over the school building. And you would have to think Campbell is a little bit upset with that call after he had such a big double.
You could see the anger, the rage on his face after they wiped out his double, but
that pitch is high.
He has no choice but to accept it and move on and continue to focus.
3-1 count here for Soup Campbell. He's hoping to do the exact same thing here to get the Mamaroneck runners back to second and third. Bergio looks back at DeVito on first base.
So it's a 3-1 count here now. The momentum hopefully still on Mamaroneck's side, George.
3-1 pitch. Call, the ball is outside, 3-2 count.
So he drops the strike in there. That is not a pitch that Michael Campbell wanted to swing at. He had the luxury of another pitch, so we'll see what he can do with it here.
Bergio looks back at DeVito at first.
So he throws over to first. DeVito barely even a step off of the bag. Easily gets back in safely.
The 3-2. Campbell hits another one foul. Low line drive. Still a full count here for the Tigers, looking to put the ball in play.
If you took a look at the spray chart on the season for Michael Campbell, it would be all down the left field line with the exception of a few hits he's had recently.
And he walks. That's ball 4. Campbell gets the first. DeVito advances to second.
So they get about 30% of their momentum back. Instead of second and third in no outs, it's first and second no outs. The force still in effect, and the runners, one base further away from scoring. So that's why it's not 50% of the momentum. But they do have the top of the order up, as Michael Campbell, the leadoff hitter, is now on first.
Now up to bat, the senior Asher Tannenbaum. He had a single earlier in the game.
You say the senior Asher Tannenbaum, pretty much every position is a senior except for the sophomores at shortstop and catcher.
Bergio stepped off the rubber there for a second, looking at Campbell at first base. Here's the pitch to Tannenbaum. Tannenbaum lays down a bunt, but it's foul all the way back towards the Mamaroneck bench.
But before you think that this is a senior-laden roster, it is simply a senior-laden starting lineup. There is a ton of talent in the junior class and in the sophomore class. Aside from McIntyre and Cringdon, you have a bunch of sophomores on JV that will factor in next year on this varsity roster. So juniors like Kobe Menser and Jack Radovich, along with Thomas Plunkett, Eric Anastas, Aaron Cox.
Here's the pitch. Tannenbaum thought that pitch was inside.
Firing the fastball. Definitely had some giddy up on that one.
No outs still for the Mamaroneck Tigers. 2 strikes though on Asher Tannenbaum. Steps off at DeVito, who is taking a nice lead off of second but gets back easily.
For inclusion's sake, I should also mention Mark Bacchino has been a key pinch hitter and JT Bierman a key pinch runner. And then there's also Johnny Reich, who is a switch hitting infielder.
And that's strike 3. Tannenbaum goes 1, 2, 3. 1 out for Mamaroneck. Runners on first and second.
So a lot of talent on this roster, but it's coming down to this senior group, and they have no one that they would want at the plate more than Ethan Renner, now with one out and a runner in scoring position here, George.
Just a couple of games ago, Ethan hit that walk-off double to secure the win for them.
Over R.C. Ketchum in the 2-1 8-inning victory.
Ball's high and outside. Renner had a spectacular play out in center field. He had the running down, leaping catch to stop White Plains from scoring another run.
Zingini on deck back in his 4 spot.
2 balls, no strikes for Renner at the plate.
So he will return to his spot in the lineup for Matt Adamo.
Adamo put in for McLaughlin when he moved pitcher. A nice cut there by Renner.
Just a little ahead of the off-speed pitch there. McLaughlin still in the batting order as the pitcher in the 7th spot. Antonelli still at DH now for, and Adamo now on deck for Zingini.
The 2-1. Another big cut there and a fastball. That was a great pitch, Steve. Two count. Renner takes time, trying to compose himself. Goes and talks to Coach Schiaparelli, hoping to get a few words of wisdom here to score with men on, or put the ball in play with men on first and second.
With a 2-2 count on Renner, he's got to watch out for a wide array of pitches from Bergio, who is now at 82 pitches on the game, 19 pitches in this hour-long inning.
Bergio eyes down Renner. Here's the pitch. Puts it into play, and it's foul. Renner's lucky that ball went foul because that was hit right to the third baseman. Could have been easy double play ball.
Well, it was a little too slow rolling for it to be a double play, but he definitely would have gotten the lead runner. So they would have basically traded an out for different runners on the base paths. But with the speed of DeVito and Campbell along with Renner, that's really a wash there. It's the fact that they would have lost an out.
Here's the pitch. DeVito to third, and it's a wild throw. DeVito scores, Campbell's takes seconds, and now it is 2-1. White Plains. Mamaroneck just 1 run out of this game now. And a full count with Renner.
So score that as a steal of third by DeVito, and then the throwing error scores DeVito as Scapoli sails it into left field. So now, with Campbell advancing to second base, they just need a single here to tie it up.
Especially with Campbell's speed. A single to the outfield. It's definitely a run. And the ball.
No, they're trying the hidden ball trick, but Campbell does not fall for it. Nice try by White Plains. You could see the over-dramatic diving for the play and all 3 outfielders running after it. A little too obvious. Campbell sniffed it out wisely.
The 3-2 full count here. That ball is fouled. Campbell tried to steal third there.
So he was on the move there, and Renner wisely swung at that, able to get a piece of it and foul it off, as they would have traded Campbell at third for an out on the bases by Renner if that was fielded cleanly and thrown to first.
The count is still full here for Renner. The Mamaroneck bench is getting loud. They're excited to have 1 run on the board in this bottom of the 6th inning, only 1 run out of the lead. Here's the pitch to Renner.
Lucky that Scapoli dropped that, or it would have been a foul tip out as he got a piece of it. But if the catcher catches it in that situation where the ball does not get above the batter's head, it counts as a strikeout.
Campbell is back to second on a close play there. White Plains did a good job of noticing that Campbell had a nice large lead, but he was able to get back. Again, checking Campbell.
Bergio a little too preoccupied with Campbell at second base here. We'll see if that affects his delivery and gives Renner the advantage at the plate. 3-2 count, George.
Here's the pitch. Renner pops one up. A nice catch by the shortstop there. 2 outs now for Mamaroneck. Campbell still on second. Now coming in to bat,
Jack Rosenfeld, the senior outfielder, pinch hitting for Adamo, who is in the game for Zanghini. He has Antonelli on deck, so if Rosenfeld, who has been clutch all season in the pinch hitting role, probably the most successful pinch hitter Mamaroneck has had this season.
Rosenfeld looks to get a hit here to hopefully score Campbell on a single to the outfield. White Plains coach now out talking to his team. We haven't seen any activity yet in the White Plains bullpen. They're sticking with their ace.
Rosenfeld has 7 hard hit balls in 13 at-bats. He's seen more than 6 pitches 3 times. Unfortunately, though, he does not have any 2-out RBIs on the season. However, his batting average with runners in scoring position is a whopping .556, which is exactly the kind of stat that you need in a situation like this.
Big moment here for Rosenfeld. Bergio still on the mound.
Pitch count now up to 86 on the afternoon.
"86 pitches is a good outing, only giving up 1 run for Bergio. Steps onto the rubber. Eyeing down Rosenfeld, looking for a pitch that he wants to throw. Here's the pitch. That's a strike. 0-1 count right now.
And the fact that he's over 87 means if White Plains does advance, he will not be available to pitch on Wednesday.
Campbell's safe at second.
So that's the second time in a row, George, that the pickoff move to second base has resulted in the fielder straddling Campbell as he rises to his feet. I'm sure that's something he doesn't appreciate, having to fight through that physicality.
Bergio to Rosenfeld. Big swing by Rosenfeld. The ball goes.
So the ump
Foul
calls
ball,
that
though.
a foul ball, which means Campbell has to go back to second base, unfortunately. took a nice hack at that, and he definitely got a piece of it. But Campbell, taking no chances, tried to advance to third on the ball that went back to the backstop.
That was a big cut there by Rosenfeld, too. 2 strikes now for Rosenfeld. 0-2 count, 2 outs. Bottom 6. Here's the pitch. Outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Tried to get him to chase the outside fastball off the plate. Classic waste pitch there. Rosenfeld has had some key hits for the Tigers this season.
Bergio. Ball is in the dirt. Campbell thought about advancing to third.
Unfortunately, George, as it ricocheted off of Scapoli, it hit Rosenfeld's shin and ricocheted back to Scapoli. So it stayed a little too close to the catcher for Campbell to try and get to third. It's a cardinal sin. You do not want to make the first or third out at third base.
That's right.
Scapoli calling time there, asking for a new sign from the dugout of White Plains. White Plains leaving a big hole at short as they try and hold Campbell on.
The 2-2 from Bergio. Big swing and a miss there from Jack Rosenfeld, and he's clearly not happy with that. 1 run scored there for the Mamaroneck Tigers. It is now 2-1 White Plains. We'll be right back with LMC TV Varsity Sports. Welcome back to Mamaroneck High School. The White Plains Tigers lead the Mamaroneck Tigers 2-1. Max McLaughlin still on the mound here for the Tigers. Looking to get out of this inning and hopefully score. First pitch, fouled back over the backstop. (0-1) for McLaughlin. He's been pitching a very solid game.
Nick Gomez again in for his brother Andrew Gomez.
Here's the pitch from McLaughlin. Campbell makes a great play, flips it to Lewis for the first out of the 7th inning.
Good range from Campbell there, getting over to his left side, and then the underhand toss to Lewis nonchalantly, recording the first out. Schiaparelli looking down into the bullpen to see what he's got going on over there. McLaughlin only 15 pitches into his outing on the mound, as a pinch hitter is coming in for the left fielder Sevchek. It's now Taj Johnson.
Also looks like Mamaroneck is making a change.
Gabe Tomchek now coming in at third base for Matt Adamo. With Adamo scheduled to have batted in that last at bat that Rosenfeld took, Tomchek will be unlikely to see the plate, as in the bottom of the 7th, Mamaroneck will have Antonelli, McIntyre, McLaughlin, Cringdon, and DeVito. So as long as Mamaroneck doesn't give up any runs, that will be more than enough to get the job done in the bottom of the 7th.
The 0-0. A strike to start off his second batter of the inning. Max McLaughlin, here's the pitch. A controversial call, but it is a strike.
Dropped the curveball in from the top of the zone. Obviously, the umpire felt it caught enough of the zone.
Fouls it off. The count stays 0-2. McLaughlin goes into his windup. Another foul ball. If the catcher would have caught that, that would have been an out.
So it looks like there are a couple new baseballs out there, which is good because the sun is peeking through the clouds, but it's shadowy on the field. So the brighter the ball, the easier it is for everyone to see. Of course, I'm sure Mamaroneck would prefer a dark ball right now.
Strike 3. What a pitch there by Max McLaughlin. 2 outs now for the Tigers, as they look to put a 0 on the board and go up into the bottom of the 7th, just down 1 run.
The senior righty blazing a fastball. Or was that a curveball? I'm not
I think
forgetting.
that was a curveball.
That was a curveball. My apologies, George. There's a fastball. Unfortunately, I guess it doesn't catch the bottom of the zone.
One 0, 2 outs. Here's the pitch for McLaughlin. That's a strike.
So Bergio, who's 1 for 3 on the day at the plate, hit a ground ball and reached on an error in his last at bat. The shatterproof glass does its job there as the ball fouls off the reservation, as they say in Cleveland, but fouls off the windows here.
Fouls off the Mamaroneck High School overpass. The 1-2. Strike 3 for Max McLaughlin. That is a big old donut on the scoreboard for the Mamaroneck Tigers. They go into the bottom of the 7th, down 1 run. We'll be right back with LMC TV Varsity Sports.
Stephen Astis alongside George Boyle here for the bottom of the 7th inning at Manchester Field. Mamaroneck trails White Plains 2-1. They have the number 5 hitter Drew Antonelli, followed by Ryan McIntyre, Max McLaughlin, and Zach Cringdon. Michael DeVito in the 9 spot could see a plate appearance, and the maximum possibility here is Michael Campbell coming up with the bases loaded and 2 outs. We wouldn't get past him without the game being decided. Galligani indicating to his relief pitcher Paulino to get into the bullpen and warm up, because Bergio is now at 91 pitches. So he only has 15 more pitches before he reaches his maximum. He can finish a batter when he reaches that number, but they would have to take him out after that.
Bergio has had a great outing today. Only giving up 1 run. He's been throwing his strikes consistently.
Bergio has faced 22 batters. He's thrown 91 pitches, thrown 59 strikes, only given up 3 hits and 2 walks, and the 1 run is unearned. The first pitch is outside. Ball 1 to Antonelli. McIntyre, as I mentioned, is on deck. This field has seen so much late inning drama over the years. See if it has another in it today. Ball outside, 2-0 to Antonelli. Antonelli 0 for 1 on the day. He lined out to the pitcher and was hit by a pitch in his second at bat.
He's not swinging at anything unless it's a pitch he wants to see.
High, ball 3, 3-0, and Bergio seems to be stressing here in the bottom of the 7th. Have to figure Antonelli will be taking all the way here. And sure enough, Bergio grooves a fastball down the pipe. 3-1 the count. The infield is playing deep, trying to keep any balls from the outfield. The outfield playing deep as Antonelli swings over that Sinking pitch. It's now full 3-2.
That was a big cut there by Drew Antonelli. He's looking to take this ball deep.
Swing and a miss. Antonelli goes down. Swinging, and it's one away here in the bottom of the 7th. Gallegani now giving the fielding instructions to his outfield. Definitely playing no doubles baseball here, while Mamaroneck just needs a base runner. Max McLaughlin on deck. Aaron Cox has a bat and a helmet in the dugout. It's possible he will get the pinch hit opportunity for Cringdon. If it comes to that, 1-0 the count to McIntyre. He fouls that one high and straight back.
McIntyre looking to just get on base here with McLaughlin up. As you mentioned earlier, he had a clutch home run down in South Carolina. So he's hoping to recreate something like that today and hopefully help Mamaroneck move on to a playoff game.
Sophomore shortstop able to lay off that off-speed pitch. 2-1 the count. Swing and a miss. Got a piece of that. But no matter, it's a 2-2 count. Ground ball down the third base line. It's going to be trouble for the third baseman. He throws, no good. He is safe at first base. Coach Glazer holds him, but the umpire awards him second base as the ball travels over the out of play line in the dugout. Gallegani's not happy about it, but he does not have a say in the matter as the ball hit McIntyre on the throw in the infield single. Great job of base running there by McIntyre as he beats it down the line.
McIntyre was out of the box extremely quick. He knew he had to get down there as fast as he could, and he was able to take second too, which is a big reward for the Tigers.
So
Mamaroneck.
He'll get first base on the infield single, second base on the throwing error by Portanova, and McLaughlin now at the plate with the chance to tie it up with a base hit here. McIntyre leads off second. Cox is in fact on deck. Curveball drops in for strike one to McLaughlin. It is going to be up to Bergio to close it out here. He is nearing his pitch count maximum at 103 on the day, if my scorebook is correct. Polino is in the bullpen. Curveball again for a called strike, strike two.
This back-to-back curveballs McLaughlin has just looked at. If he sees that pitch for a third time, you know he'll be swinging at it.
After the rain and all the action, there is basically no batter's box left. Ground ball ricochets off the field, the foot of Bergio, and McIntyre will round third and score the tying run.
Mamaroneck ties the game up. What a clutch hit by the senior Max McLaughlin, and McIntyre with some heads up running, able to score off the ricochet off the foot of the pitcher.
A beautiful piece of hitting by McLaughlin, and the score is tied. Now with the chance to win it is Aaron Cox at the plate. Mark Bacchino has a bat in hand, so it looks like he will be on deck. And I believe Bergio may have to come out after this batter, as he is, again, in my unofficial scorebook at 105 pitches on the day. So regardless of what his pitch count is, whether I'm off by a pitch or 2 or 3, Polino will have to come in for Bergio after this batter.
Renner and Antonelli both came out to go calm Cox down. They're both they're seasoned veterans for this team, so they're hoping to get this sophomore.
Thomas Plunkett, who is slated to start the quarterfinal game, is now warming up in the bullpen as McLaughlin scampers back to the base as Bergio tries to keep him honest. A huge clutch hit from the senior third baseman. And the ball is in the dirt, 1-0 for Cox. Cox has a heavy bat, has a lot of power, just like his older brother, Bobby Cox, who is now at St. Lawrence University. Swing and a miss on the fastball, Cox. The count is now 1-1.
The Mamaroneck bench is up and roaring, hoping to pump Aaron Cox up here.
DeVito is on deck as McLaughlin is sent back to first with the pickoff. Token attempt by Bergio. Another attempt, if you can even call it that, sort of just a toss over to first to remind McLaughlin that he has a move and has the option to throw over.
McLaughlin was not even was 2 steps off the bag, and Bergio was already throwing back at him.
The pitch, swing and a miss by Cox. One and two the count. You can cut the tension with a knife here at Manchester Field. One away. Cox called out on strikes. He doesn't agree with that one, felt it was low. Coach Chaparelli sort of throws his palms up at the sky like, what are you gonna do? Can't let a pitch that close go by, but they do have another chance here, and they have new life as the score is tied. Michael DeVito, who has been the star of the game until McLaughlin's hit, could be the hero once again if he gets a hold of one here. We have Bergio with 109 pitches on my book. I guess he has another one before he has to come out of the game. I'm not sure who's tracking pitches down in the dugout, but I had thought that the number was something more like 105 or 106. But no matter, maybe Coach Chaparelli feels that he's better off with the pitcher having thrown 100 and sitting for a half an hour, facing his batter who already has one hit on the ground ball to second. No, he doesn't call it a strike. It looked like he was going to motion for a strike. The White Plains fans are looking for him to give that indication. They wanted that called a strike, but it isn't. 1-0 to DeVito.
That was an extremely close call.
Fastball, he gets a makeup call there as that was down around the shins. And the umpire calls it a strike. Michael Campbell is on deck. McLaughlin running, and he is safe with the stolen base. The head first slide on the pitch in the dirt.
What a steal there by Max. Not known as the speediest guy, but he is quick. But he was able to get down, dart down to second base and get that clutch headfirst slide to move him into scoring position.
So now that he is in scoring position, the outfield is moving in, as the double doesn't really matter. It's the base hit that can win the game for DeVito. Galligani is instructing his fielders additionally, giving them a little bit of advice on what to do. Obviously, they are throwing home with any hit to the outfield. The count is 2-1 with 2 outs. DeVito got frozen by the curveball. Count even 2-2 with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th inning. McLaughlin tied it up with the base hit off the leg of Bergio. DeVito with the chance to win it here. Pop, straight back, off the facade. McLaughlin moving on the pitch. Has to go back to second base. Bergio steps off the mound and toes the rubber once again. Obviously pitching from the stretch with the runner on. And the pitch. Fouls it off. Great defensive swing from DeVito as he felt the curveball dropping in for a called strike 3. Did not want to go down looking. Wisely pounded that into the first base dugout, and he will live for another.
Smart play there by DeVito. Nobody ever wants to go down looking at the ball, especially if it's the bottom of the 7th with 2 outs.
Ground ball up the middle, fielded by the shortstop. He double clutches and doesn't have it. McLaughlin runs and scores the winning run, and Mamaroneck wins it with the last pitch. A beautiful ground ball by DeVito, and he is mobbed around first base.
What a storybook ending for Michael DeVito, who's sprinting around the outfield, celebrating his clutch hit to win the game for the Tigers.
What a incredible ending to this game. The ground ball gloved by the shortstop. He double clutches on the throw to first. The ball in the dirt, fielded by DiSavino. McLaughlin running the whole way, comes home to score the winning run.
Great heads-up base running there by Max McLaughlin to score from second off of an infield single. What a way to end this game.
So, after another storybook ending here at Manchester Field, Mamaroneck lives to play another day and will face the winner of Clarkstown North and Ossining, which is going on as we speak. We will find out the result of that game and report that to you when available. But for now, Mamaroneck victorious 3-2 over White Plains. We'll be back in just a moment with our post-game interviews and post-game reaction here on LMC TV Varsity Sports. I am here with what I can only say are the co-players of the game. Max, we're going to start with you. Ricocheted off the leg. How do you feel about what happened there? And did you think that it was going to go into the outfield? Did you know that everything was working out at that point?
Well, I saw the ball off my bat, and I thought he was going to catch it as a pitcher. So once it came off his leg, I knew that we were good.
The ball really hadn't bounced Mamaroneck's way all day long. Did you feel like that was a blessing from the baseball gods?
Oh, yeah. After that, I knew we had it. We had it.
So coming onto the mound in a clutch situation, you've done that so many times before. Did this feel any different?
Nope, exactly the same.
Well, congratulations on the victory.
Thank you.
All right. Michael DeVito, you started out the game with a lot of action in right field, probably more action than you've seen in any one game, especially with Isaac on the mound. Did that take you by surprise at all?
Yeah, for sure. After the first ball went way over my head, and I thought that was going over the fence, I just started playing back the rest of the game, and I got good tracks on every ball. And, yeah, I wasn't expecting those balls to hit over there. I really rarely see that, so.
You know this field intimately. You've been playing on it for years and years. How do you feel about that chain link fence now?
I mean, my foot was really stuck in there. I was like squirming for my life, and just happy I caught the ball.
So you've always been speedy, fast. Your nickname may be Spidey, but you are speedy. Do you ever think that you've run any faster down to first base?
No, the ball that I hit the second base and I beat out, I think I hurt my back a little bit. That was the fastest I've ever ran.
You actually strided very long to be able to get to it. It looked jarring. Did you feel it?
Yeah, I did. And my foot hit the base so hard it made a loud noise. I knew I was going to be safe right there.
You faced some adversity throughout the season. You're a fantastic hitter, a line drive machine, but you've been a little up and down in the latter half of the season.
Yeah.
So to persevere through something like this, just tell us how you feel.
I mean, my last couple of games I haven't been hitting as well as I wanted to, and I've been just trying to shorten my swing a little bit, really watching the ball hit the bat, and I'm relaxed up there, and I got a nice low pitch, and I did what I had to do.
So basically a testament to the will to win, not wanting the season to end. What were you thinking when you were at the plate?
I mean, I knew it's a beautiful day today, but my season wasn't going to end on a Monday afternoon, so I'm happy to play another game.
I'm here with Coach Schiaparelli. Shap, take us through that last moment of the game when you were on the third base line.
Well, it's Mike DeVito hits a shot up the middle, hits the break. It's one of the breaking balls finally. Hard up the middle. I'm like, it's a base hit, and the kid makes a great stop. And I see him. He comes up. He's just looking right at first. I'm like, I just brought Max around the base because he's going to throw it high, low, or pull it out the base. I knew he had to beat out. So I just brought him all the way home, and the kid never even made a throw.
You have any plans coming up for your next playoff game?
A lot more hard work, concentration, but the first game's always the hardest. And beating Bergio, he's one of the top pitchers in the section. He's awesome. He pitched a great ball game. He didn't deserve to lose that game. But a game like that, you're going to play to fruition to the end and see what happens. And we got lucky. We had one strike left, and we won the game.
So that'll do it here from Manchester Field with George Boyle. I'm Stephen Astis. George, just a fantastic game from start to finish. Bergio for White Plains as we see them walking off rather dejectedly after a storybook ending for the Mamaroneck Tigers. We've seen a lot of great baseball here over the years, and this ranks right up there.
Of course, any game that ends in a walk-off, especially a playoff game, will be a lot of fun for people to watch. So
you could get the sense from, we talked to Mike DeVito, and a lot of these players just did not want the season to end here today like it was looking like it was going to. And the guttiness and the grit of this Mamaroneck team just shined through in the end.
They were desperate, and when desperation calls, they pulled up. They did a good job. They were able to get the winning run. So for our Chief Operating Officer, Matt Sullivan, for our second and a former player, and for Dina Schumacher, as well as for our sports producer, Rob Moretti. With George Boyle, I'm Stephen Astis for LMC Varsity Sports.
If you are interested in sponsoring this or other programs on LMC TV, contact us for more information.